second speaker, Lance Koenders, is president of Laugh Factory, also involved with a lot of mobile video media, and many of you know Lance is one of the founders of the Wireless Technology Forum. So, Lance, nice to have you back and presenting and sharing.
My name is Lance Koenders. I am president of the Laugh Factory, and for those that don't know the Laugh Factory, since we don't have a club here, what Laugh Factory is famous for is the comedy club on the Sunset Strip in Hollywood. What most people don't know is that we're one of the larger producers of stand-up comedy content, both on the internet and on various networks. If you guys remember a show like Last Comic Standing, we produced that show for NBC. In addition to that, we also have one of the larger talent management companies for comedians in Hollywood. And we're a very quickly growing new media company. We're actually one of the larger YouTube channels. We actually have two YouTube channels. We have Laugh Factory, and then we also have one called Laugh Factory VIP, which is one of the new subscription YouTube channels where you actually pay and get your content for a small monthly fee. As I mentioned, part of what the Laugh Factory is about, though, is not just producing content, but how is it that we promote laughter in the world? The mission of the company is actually making the world laugh. And to do that, I also have another company called Laugh IQ, which I won't go into a lot of detail tonight on, but it's basically a recommendation engine neural network, and like an artificial machine learning that learns people's sense of humor. And that is behind the Laugh Factory's website, not our YouTube channel, but it's also growing and being added to other websites already in the progress. So, for us, it's all about how do we bring laughter to the world. As I mentioned, we have an ad-supported YouTube channel. We have over 200,000 subscribers. We've had this channel since 2008, I think. Don't hold me to that. We get about between 3 and 6 million video views a month. The vast majority of what we publish to our YouTube channel is short form clips. We also have the VIP, as I mentioned, which is subscription. That channel is much more dedicated to long form content, so 20 minutes up to an hour long shows, even a few that are a little bit longer than that. We also have the Laugh Factory Comedy Network, which is our website. The Laugh Factory Comedy Network, though, is also the basis for our mobile applications, our smart TV applications, all of the different platforms, and that's where it feeds off of the Laugh IQ engine. But one of the things that I wanted to make a point here is, as a publisher, we definitely do see the percentage of our traffic growing dramatically to mobile. Today on laughfactory.com, over 50% of all of our traffic is coming from mobile phones. By the way, I got to be careful here. On the way Google Analytics measures this, that's just phones. That doesn't include tablets. Tablets is actually under the other 49.9%. Very significant amounts of our website traffic are coming from mobile, which is kind of interesting to see that we're seeing that much. Within our YouTube channel, about 23% of all of our video views come through mobile today. Still a very significant portion, considering it was much lower before. So I wanted to kind of give my thoughts as a publisher on the good and bad of mobile video. Because while it is a growing audience, there's some things that are not perfect. One is, as a producer of entertainment content, short form is good, but it's tough to tell a good story in short form. So it changes how we go about creating content. The good news is stand-up comedy is very conducive to this, because most stand-up sets, usually each bit is about 3 to 5 minutes, so you can break things up. If you look, though, one of the other things that I find very interesting about mobile videos is mobile video, I think, is, from a technology perspective, is driving the movement from Flash content over to more HTML5, HLS type content. And this is really valuable because I think the industry, one of the biggest problems in internet delivered video, whether it's to desktop or mobile, is the fragmentation of the standards around delivery of that content. Doesn't make it impossible to deliver content. Obviously, lots of us are doing it, but it makes it more complicated, and it honestly wastes bandwidth. Today's way of doing Flash and progressive download actually, I think, is responsible for a lot of waste that exists out in the industry. And then the other good news is, from as a producer of content and distributor, you use less bandwidth typically for mobile video than you do for desktop, which means it's cheaper because you have less gigabytes you're transferring. Well, if you're a publisher, all you care about is the internet side of it. You don't care what the mobile bandwidth. Obviously, it's more expensive for a user on the mobile side. But the bad news, though, is that mobile is still plagued by device fragmentation. And what I mean by that is the number of different types of video encoding you have to do to support mobile is still kind of ridiculous today, the number of transcodes, in essence, that you have to do. You also have this kind of varying of both what supports Flash and HTML5, which means you've got to support both, and it's very different infrastructures between those two. You've got what I would say is relatively strong content security gaps on mobile. Well, it's not this isn't a mobile problem. This is an HTML5 problem. The level of content security around HTML5 is just not where it is around Flash, but that's improving. We see, at least, and I don't know if everyone sees this, but we do see lower advertising fill rates on mobile. And a lot of that, and I don't mean to pick on YouTube, but in YouTube in particular, we see this largely because YouTube is on so many different mobile devices, and a lot of those devices don't support advertising. So, matter of fact, it was just recently in the last year that we finally got iPhones where they had a native YouTube app where we could get ads there. So the actual fill rate, or what we call the monetizable view percentage, has always been low on mobile, which is not a great thing if you're trying to pay for premium content, okay? And then the other, we have shorter viewing sessions. That's okay. That's not really a big deal. But then the other one is the advertising industry themselves, Madison Avenue, and the people who produce the ads are still slow to produce. They're very Flash-centric in that world. And they're starting to do HTML5 ads, but the number of ads that come out that have both HTML5 and Flash Creative is obviously much lower than what's available for just Flash alone. And so we do see those as being the negative. So just a few thoughts that I would put out there to kind of finish is, a lot of times, particularly within the new media programs at universities, a lot of them will ask me about, hey, what's important in mobile video? And I think one of the biggest things is that when it comes to mobile video or internet video and distribution in general, cost is really important because your fragmentation drives your audience size to be much smaller than you'd be on a major broadcast network. So as a result, you've got to find ways to lower the cost to produce the videos. But that's very doable. I mean, to give you guys some data points, up until about 5 years ago, a typical stand-up comedy special, a 1-hour special, would cost about $70,000 to produce. But that doesn't include talent. That's just raw video production cost. Today, for our YouTube channel, we produce content at about $1,700 an hour. Now, is it as good of quality as what we produce for $70,000? Not quite. But it's a lot cheaper. And at that price per hour, you can actually make a business work at it. It's still very important to have quality content. One of the biggest things that I ask my colleagues and my account management and such from YouTube all the time is, you've got to separate YouTube user-generated from the premium stuff. It's a huge problem for premium content producers because quality content ends up kind of getting the brand tarnished by having low-grade user-generated. And so we always have to watch that. And then last is just, advertising for the mobile world is improving. It's moving at a very, very quick clip. But if you compare it to what the monetization is of desktops and I think it's still not quite there. But I give it another year, I think we'll be there. It's quite manageable. So that's my perspectives, and you can ask me whatever you want on the next part. Gerry.
Amazing. Statistics and environment and your cost numbers are astounding. So puts things into perspective. So now we've had two good presentations.